Hi there, it's Kevin Ward, the founder of Yes Masters Real Estate Success Training. And today I want to talk about mindset by sharing with you what I'm going to call my top 10 books on mindset. So I'm going to let you know right now that this is totally subjective. I'm going to ask you to place right in the comments below, post in the comments below your suggestions. What do you believe is a book that is great on mindset that you've read that really helped you that didn't make it on the list? And so I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorite mindset books of all time. And before I do that, I want to do some honorable mentions. So here's some books that did not make the top 10 because there's nothing about top 10 being 10 books instead of 11 or 12, except that sounds better than the top 14. So I've got 4 books here that to me make the honorable mention list of the top 10 books on mindset, on how do I control my thoughts? How do I create better beliefs? How do I create more confidence? How do I create more mental toughness? How do I create more mental stamina? Where that I can handle the ups and downs of life, where that I don't deal with anxiety or fear and let that stop me, where I deal with scarcity mindset of always feeling like there's not enough, or all of that kind of stuff that we battle with. And I'm going to tell you right now that there is, in the formula of success, in the formula of achievement, in the formula of being great at anything, I believe, and I'm definitely not the only one that believes this, that 90% of your success is here. It is the 6 inches of real estate between the ears that you must master. And most people don't master it. That's why most people do not ever experience really living into their full potential, and they don't live the life of their dreams. Is not because they're not smart enough. It's not because they're not fast enough, good enough, talented enough, born in the right place, know the right people. It's not any of that. It is, more than anything else, your mindset. So what I'm going to share with you, these top 10 books, or these top books of mindset, would be a great investment of your time if you want to get stronger in the way you think and the way that you believe. And I'll say this, having the books does nothing for you. It's not like, okay, by osmosis, I am now getting more powerful mindset. It doesn't work that way. Here we go. Honorable mention for the most powerful books on mindset. Honorable mention number 1, and these are not in any particular order except this is the stack, is The Master Key to Riches by Napoleon Hill. Now, main reason this is not on the top 10 is I didn't want his books to be half of the top 10. And so I put this as an honorable mention because another one of his books makes the top 10. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. But I liked this book. This book had more value for me personally than Think and Grow Rich, which is a little sneak peek. That's one of the top 10 mindset books of all time. The Master Key to Riches, unbelievably powerful book and really good stuff. Okay, so Napoleon Hill is the mindset guru that created the first philosophy of achievement and understood that it was mind more than anything else that was the key to that. Next book on the honorable mention, How to Raise Your Own Salary by, guess who? Napoleon Hill. This was one of the last books he ever published. And it's probably, if not the best, it is definitely one of the best. I think it's better than Think and Grow Rich, but it's a little bit different format. And How to Raise Your Own Salary is really not probably was a title that was catchy and it definitely worked for him, but it's more about mindset than it is about making money. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Honorable mention. Yes, again, Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, one of the most profound, powerful books I've ever read in my life. Probably deserves to be on the list of top 10, but because I've already got a book as top 10 from Napoleon Hill, I put it down as an honorable mention. Anything by Napoleon Hill deserves to be read and deserves to be studied and deserves a place in your library. And then the final book in the honorable mention category of mindset is this little book that I think it's public domain. I think you can download this for free. And I ordered it on, probably Amazon, because I wanted to have a hard copy of it. And it's called The Science of Getting Rich The Science of Getting Rich, Your Master Key to Success by Wallace D. Wattles. Now, I wondered about any book named by a guy named Wally Wattles. That's how he went by, is Wally Wattles. I wondered if this book could be good with any guy named Wally Wattles, but this book was written decades ago. This was like written back in the early 1900s, I believe. I can't remember for sure. I was looking to see if there's a date on it, but it's public domain now, the content, because he's long gone. This book was like, wow, amazing. Little bitty thing. It's an easy read. You can read it in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and you got to get this book, Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And again, it's not about money. It's about the mindset that it takes to create abundance in your life. And so a lot of the books are couched in this idea of making money, getting rich, Think and Grow Rich, but it's really not about money. If you go in with this idea of, oh, well, these guys are just materialistic and they just think it's all about money, then you're not understanding the power that's available in these books. So it's not about money. It's about the way you think that allows you to have more abundance in your life, which allows you not only to have more choices, more control, but allows you to give more, to be more generous, and to have a bigger impact is if you have more. All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, the top 10 mindset books that everyone should read. And these I put these in alphabetical order, so they're not in order of my favorite to least favorite, because I really don't know that I could do that. And if I did, I don't think it would have any value. So I just put these alphabetically. And so I'm going to start with this book right here. It is called The Answer by John Assaraf. Now, John Assaraf, I got to meet him this last year. I've had this book for years. I bought this book a long time ago, and then I read it back about 10 years ago. And this book helped me at a really low point in my life. I say it was in 2010 when I read this book. I remember because it was right after this book that I started making some changes in my life, probably the second time I read it. But it is really, really powerful at the answer of how to find the answer within yourself. And I love this book. And it was amazing to me because this book never really was like a big seller, but I believe Stephen Covey just endorsed it and said brilliant. And I think it is a brilliantly written book, The Answer by John Assaraf. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon.com, but it was never like a top-selling book that it was not a blockbuster, and it probably should have been. It came shortly after where it was really published, or at least became known, was after The Secret, because John Assaraf was in The Secret. But right there, number one, The Answer. Number two, classic mindset book that was written, I don't even know how many years ago, and again, this is so old that it doesn't even have the date of copyright date on there, but it's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. The whole book is not written in King James English, even though the title is. I bought this copy in 2002. That was the first time I read it. And I have read this book probably half a dozen times because it's easy to read. It's a total of 72 tiny pages. Great classic book on understanding the power of your thoughts. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Next, a book by the legendary Anthony Robbins, the founder and creator of Unleash the Power Within and the self-improvement guru of the last 20, 25, 30 years, Awaken the Giant Within. It is a masterpiece of self-improvement and mindset. So that's a book that should be in your library if you want to have a strong mindset. He's done so many things. His first book was called Unlimited Power, also a great book. This is really, I would consider it an expansion and an updating of that book. Deals with more than just mindset, but it is primarily a thing about understanding and taking control of your mind and your emotions and all of that. Powerful, powerful book. Now here's a book. I'd never heard of this till about 4 years ago, and it's a book by a guy named Don Miguel Ruiz, and it's called The Four Agreements. The Four Agreements. Now this book right here, unbelievable. I like the audiobook of this. I very rarely listen to audiobooks. I typically read because I can read faster than I can listen. And so I like to read. But The Four Agreements is about why we believe the way we believe and what to do about it. Like, where did you get to all the beliefs that you have, the thoughts that you have, your mindset that you have currently? Where did it come from? And what can I do about it? And this book is really profound, and it's written kind of like a parable. So it's a little weird, but it's easy to read. It's great to read. I recommend on this one that you get the Audible book, the Audible version, because the guy that narrates it has this great voice, and it was unbelievable. The Four Agreements. Next book on the list, David J. Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big. Now, what's amazing about this is most of these books are not new books. This book I bought back in 2002, and it was first time published in 1959. This book is 60 years old. The Magic of Thinking Big, by David J. Schwartz. It's just about how to, if you want to learn how to overcome fear, how do I keep fear, overcome fear stopping me, right here. He says, do the thing that you fear, and the death of fear is certain. But it's great on thinking bigger. If you grew up like me, thinking very small, very much of a scarcity mindset, this book was instrumental in my personal development. And I've had this book around for a long time. The next book on mastering your mindset is a newer book by one of my friends, Hal Elrod. And Hal Elrod has an amazing story of his life, and has gone through even now and recently some major trauma and major challenges in his life. And he wrote this book called The Miracle Morning. It's a simple, easy read, but he just talks about a morning ritual and how that morning ritual that he did changed his life. And this book, not only is the book great, but he's also created such a great movement of people just a community of people who have tapped into the power of the miracle morning. He's written several versions of it, including a version for real estate agents. The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Read this book. It is awesome sauce. Next book on the list, number 6. We're now into the S's. Yes, this book is an amazing book. The Secret. Now, you've probably seen the movie, The Secret, right? That came out about, 15 years ago now. 10, 15 years ago now. The Secret took the world by storm. It was like, oh, here is the secret finally revealed. Now, I'm going to tell you, the secrets that revealed in here are thousands of years old. There's nothing new about The Secret, except that if you didn't know it before and you know it now, it's new to you. So this book is a really great book. Now, one of the things it talks about, and this book popularized what we call the law of attraction. And when you watch the movie, and people watch the movie and they're like, I just got to think it and visualize it and it'll come to me. And so it really seemed to fall short of that. You can sit and think all day and meditate and imagine and visualize, and nothing's going to come to you unless you're willing to take action, which is reality. Well, this book takes you beyond the just sitting there and thinking about it. And it says you got to take action on it to make it happen. So I really feel like the book was better, more comprehensive, and more realistic than the movie. And so if you want a good book that's motivating, it's fun to read, the layout of it is really cool, that lets you can read this in bite-sized chunks. It's a book that I like it. I like the feel of it. And get the hard copy of The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. It's got a lot of contributors to it that are well-known people and that are thought leaders, mindset gurus, including John Assaraf, who wrote the book. The first book I talked about here, The Answer. He's in this book. And this book's probably the one that made him famous, not this one, but this is a great book that kind of complements this, but they're different content. So that's that. Now, just in case you're wondering, this book was written in the 2000s. I'm not sure when the original, let's just see here. The original date of the publication of this was, now I can't find it, 2006. So this book came out about 11 years ago, and it was like, oh, this is the new secret. Well, over 50 years ago, closer to a century ago, there was a guy named Earl Nightingale. And if you've ever heard of Nightingale Conant, which was probably the premier self-improvement publishing company that did all the audio cassettes, but I mean, they were the ones that kind of, the self-improvement industry was led by Nightingale Conant, which is a publication company. And Earl Nightingale is the guy that created all this, and he published this book. Again, this is public domain, no copyright on it anymore at all. I have no idea when this was originally written. It was actually done first as an audio book, if you can believe that, an audio book back when audio was like, it was actually done on what we call LPs. Now, for those of you that don't know what an LP was a record player. Something you played on a record player, was a big white plastic, it was like a DVD, but it was this big around and black. And you put it on there and you took this whole thing with a needle and you played it. Anyway, it was originally a record. It was an audio called The Strangest Secret. And this is a transcription of 2 audios that he did over 50 years ago. I don't remember how many years over 50, but it's been a long time, called The Strangest Secret. Now, I'm going to give you the strangest secret in one sentence. And here is the sentence. We become what we think about. Yep. Earl Nightingale is the one that originally coined that statement. We become what we think about. Mindset, my friend. The Strangest Secret, this great, look at it, it's thin, such a simple read. You can read it in 15 minutes or less, maybe 10. Awesome, awesome book. You can get I bought a copy of it on Amazon. You can get the audio, probably on YouTube, get a free audio version of it, listen to it, and it's actually narrated by the great Earl Nightingale himself, and he had this great booming, resonant voice. Awesome to listen to that. Get that. Next, the classic, the #1 best-selling book probably on mindset and self-improvement ever, Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just the title says it all, Think and Grow. Now, again, people go like, well, money's not everything. No, and this book is not about money. And he talks about it, that this will get you money, but it's all about you being able to get what you want in your life is how you think and how you grow. And if you want to be a better person, this is a must-read book. Now, the last one, this book is new. And let's see, this one just came out like a couple of years ago. So it came out 2013, so it's been now 5 years ago. But I never read this till just like a couple of months ago. And I've had it for like several months, but I just had it on my stack of books to read, and I just read it. And this book is phenomenal. It's called You Are a Badass by a girl, Jen Sincero. And so it's the only one by a girl actually on this. I could add a couple of others on my honorable mention, but this book right here, my friend, it is a killer awesome book. It's so good that I actually bought copies of it to give as gifts to some people because it's that powerful. How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. Just this book takes and breaks it down and makes it up to date and easy and powerful. If I were starting with one book, you go like, okay, just if you had to pick one to do right now, I would pick that one. I'm excited about it. I'm really just stoked on it. This would be a great book to start. I think if you're a female, this book is obviously going to resonate well with you because it's written by a female, and so I'm so excited that a woman stepped up and wrote a book of this caliber. And if you're a guy, it doesn't matter. It's still awesome, amazing, right on. And so I love this book. So that's it. Top 10 books on the power of mindset and how to give yourself a more powerful mindset. Here's the thing. You take it, you read the stuff, you got to do what it says to do. You got to act, implement, and put into action what has to happen to change the way you think. But I'm going to tell you this. When you change the way you think, you change the way you believe. When you change the way you believe, you change the way you behave. When you change the way you behave, you change the results and the outcomes that you're going to get on everything you do in your life. So when you think better, you believe better, you behave better, you live better. And so this is the path right here. It starts in the head. It starts with your mind, with your emotions, with your beliefs, all that. And these are seeds. And maybe not so much seeds as these are the fertilizers, the food, the nutrition for your brain to make your brain better. So, one, give the video a thumbs up if you like it, if this has been helpful for you, but I also want to know, what are your favorite mindset books? It may be one or more of the books on here, but also what books did I leave off that you would have added to the top 10 list, because this is not a definable list. This is a definitive list. You may have some other books, and there's so many great books out there on mindset, but just as a starting point, these are books that are a great start for anyone, and I want to see what you have to say, but most important thing is pick a book and read it. Get into them and start reading it every day. It'll make a huge difference in your life so that you can play to win and that you can always expect yes.